Hello there guys, so welcome to the stream. I'm jamming here over a new backing track that I uploaded a few days ago, and I just freaking got rid of this little knob. Don't know where it is. That'll work anyway, so tune in. I'm in D Dorian. Of course, I can't help myself but play some D harmonic minor as well. That's just the way it goes. But the thing is, when you play fast, you can get away with a lot of different scales. So what matters is what notes you choose when you slow down. Maybe I should figure out a way to, do a temporary little knob for this one. Maybe you guys have a suggestion for me. I could just use some tape maybe. Let's try it. So let's do a temporary little knob on my pickup switch so that I don't damage my hand every time I'm switching between pickups. Hopefully this will work. We have a pair of scissors there. Let's try it. A duct tape guitar. Hey Adam, what's up? So let's remove the tape. Like this. This is completely improvised, just like my playing was in the beginning. So now I'm gonna try to stick this onto the switch. See if it works. So far so good. Can you guys see what I'm doing here? Okay, and maybe, I don't know if I can, maybe I can just, how do you say, fold it so that it's on top of itself. Let's try that. Whoa! Okay, what do you think about my improvised little switch thingy? There it is. I like it. Let's try it. Works. Works. Adam, how long have I been playing? Cool question. So it's around 30 years now. Not long enough though. Should have started when I was 0 years old. No, but around 30 years I would say. But it's a tough estimate because some years I've been practicing like a maniac, and other years I've been playing somewhat regularly, but not with much intent, and that's what matters. So I could clearly tell that during those years I didn't make a lot of progress. And that's just how it goes if you're not putting your heart into it. Let's do D harmonic minor now. What's up, my man? So I'm lowering the backing track a little bit. Let me know if the levels are okay. We got my man Sayori, awesome. Master Deep, thanks so much, man. Okay, so we got a cool question there by Sayori. How did I do this backing track? So this backing track is done in Logic Pro, and I recorded the guitars with my amp, my Mesa Boogie amp, and an SM57. And I didn't use this guitar. I used my Gibson Les Paul Studio. Preferred for high gain sounds. So this is the back track we're speaking about. And then I added drums. I actually used Logic Pro's drummer, and I used it to trigger some old like pay plugin that I have, Steven Slate drums. I'm sure there's a new version now. Mine is like 15 years old, but it still sounds okay. So I used Logic Drummer, which is their smart drummer, bordering AI, I guess. Though it's all, but anyhow, so I'm triggering that the Steven Slate drums, and then I'm recording bass, just real bass, me playing. I just use line like a direct input to the computer, and I add like effects on the bass afterwards. That's pretty much it. And then there are try to do some small tricks of the trade, maybe add a little synthesizer layer here and there, but in essence that's it. Master Deep, if the guitar had more frets. Yeah, we need more frets. Let's see, are we still in tune? Whoops. Sayori, what do you mean? Like there's a noise sound? You mean in the backing track? Like if there's noise, maybe a little bit from the guitars. But I don't know if you're referring like a muddy mix. You have to spend some time, trying to get the balances right, EQing. Especially difficult with like the bass frequencies. Maybe that's what you're referring to. So Sayori, if you're hearing the guitar twice, maybe you need to mute the track on your phone. So I don't know what software you're using, maybe like GarageBand or something. If you recorded the guitar, first of all, you gotta, to the extent possible, you have to listen with headphones, right, when you record. Otherwise, the phone is going to be playing the sound and you're recording, but the phone is going to be recording both your guitar and the sound that's coming out of the speakers of the phone. So that's number one. If you're having issues with anything recording related, it's always worth testing with headphones or something like that. That's the number one thing. But then you also might want to maybe mute some tracks. If there's like a feedback loop, maybe you can, if you recorded a guitar and you want to record a second guitar, maybe mute the tracks. I don't know. That could be it. It's hard to tell from a distance exactly what is giving you issues. I'm not digging the sound here. Just a second. Oops. Cool. So Sayori, I think we found the issue then. Basically, you're having a monitoring issue. So monitoring is when you listen to the actual track. So you have to use headphones. That's the only way you can do this. So if you only have one input to the guitar and that's kind of preventing you from having headphones, maybe you can have like wireless headphones. Maybe that can help you. Otherwise, you will get such issues. It's inevitable. That's why for better sounds, you can't really use your phone unless you have a good interface that you can connect to it, which has, several ins and outs. So if you connect like a real audio interface to your phone, I think there are some. I have never had one because I always record with a computer for this kind of thing. But if you have a good interface, then that's going to have like several inputs and maybe a couple of outputs. So you can connect headphones and maybe you can also connect it to speakers or something like that. So Master Deep, I'm not sure you're asking me or Sayori, but I'm using Logic Pro. And Sayori, maybe if you let us know what DAW you're using, and that can help us, give you some tips maybe. But I mean, if it's the monitoring issue we're suspecting, then that's going to be generic for any recording software that you use. Oh, Master Deep, I'm using Logic Pro. That's the software I'm using to record myself. I'm not using any software right now to generate the guitar sound. I'm using a real amp and pedals. But for the backing track, I used Logic Pro. This one. Got a band in tune. Thank you, Slob, on my film snob. Sorry for butchering your username. Aaron, you can hear the strings, yeah. I'm just recording through the microphone of my phone, so you will hear the unamplified signal. But if I turn the... I guess that's a good way for you to check the authenticity. There's a lot of debate going on now on the web, you know, about faking. And generally, if you can hear the strings ringing acoustically on the guitar, you know that the signal hasn't been altered, you know, in any way. If that's a positive thing, I don't know. As long as it sounds good, I guess it's good. So are you hearing the strings super loud? Is it like bothering, or does the amplifier kind of compensate for it? Okay, so if you can hardly hear the strings, it's probably just when I hit them really hard, like this maybe. Like that maybe. Okay, I'm gonna have to listen back to it and see just how bad it is. By the way, I used to do the streams with a really high quality setup, but I found that, you know, I experimented a lot with different ways of doing it. But I found that instead of, you know, spending some time warming up and finding some you know, backing tracks to play over and getting into the groove, instead of doing that, I found myself just tweaking the equipment for like 30-40 minutes before I could start the stream. And so I realized I prefer having like just my phone and you know, be in a playing mood and in a talking mood, as opposed to being some kind of engineer and then, you know, trying to be, you know, interact with you guys. So that has its price, of course, because as you were saying, audio quality is not maybe as desirable as you would like it to be. But on the other hand, you know, if you go to my channel and check the regular videos, especially the shorts, you get a good quality there. So I guess this is more of like an interaction thing. Whereas if you want the playing stuff, you know, the pre-recorded stuff is maybe going to be more useful. I don't know. Let's try another track here. Let's do E Dorian, funky rock. Alejandro, what's up? Exactly, this could be seen as a backstage session, for sure. That sounds pretty crap. Oh, man, this was E Dorian all the time. I was playing D Dorian. Man. So, one more time. Cool question there. So do I prefer for overdrive or distortion or fuzz? So I can just give you, as an example, my current setup here, which actually uses a bit of everything. So it goes into the silk tone fuzz, and then it actually goes into the BEOD, which is definitely a distortion. It's a very amp-like high gain thing. And then it goes into the amp loop. And you're hearing the overdrive channel on the Mesa Boogie amp. And then it goes back from the loop. I have a EQ, compressor, and delay and reverb. So to answer your question, right now I'm actually using 3 gain stages. I'm using fuzz, although I have almost 0 fuzz on it. It's just like a booster rather, but it's still, I guess, you get the germanium kind of sound from it. And then I have a Friedman pedal, which is really high gain, and that goes into the high gain amp or overdrive channel on the high gain amp. So I mix everything, you know. I can't really tell. To me, it's important, especially when I produce these shorts, to have a tool so that I can kind of find the sound of the day, just anything that inspires me, and tends to not be what I dialed in yesterday. So I got to find a new cool sound on a daily basis. So the more pedals I have and the more flexible they are, the easier my job is going to be. And that's why I have probably one of the most flexible analog amps there are. I mean, the Mesa Boogie Mark V is known for its, you can get the Fender cleans all the way up to, the Metallica famous LC Plus or whatever it's called. I don't use it as much. I tend to be in the overdrive or a clean region, and I'm using pedals instead to get my high gain. But someday I'm pretty sure I'm going to start exploring the high gain channel. Oh yeah, man, we got my man Guitar Page. What's up? It's been like 6 months since I've come on your lives. Good to see you. My ear is actually doing better. Thank you, man. So for those of you who don't know, I've had up to now 4 different ear surgeries just to try to fix a broken eardrum. And it seems it's finally fixed now. The problem is my hearing is still kind of bad, but I think that's expected because it's still very, I don't know what the word is in English. Inflammerad på svenska. It's in flames. No, but it's still, I don't know what the word is. Well, it's still kind of... So I'm not a doctor, as you can hear, especially not in English. Inflamed. So it is that the word, inflamed? I was joking about the metal band In Flames. So there you go. Oh, Sayori. So this microphone is an industry standard SM57. That's the one I use for a lot of the distorted backing tracks. For the shorts, I mix this microphone with this one, which is a Pinnacle Fat Top. And this one gives me like really round and low mid-range warmth, basically. And then I combine that with the SM57. It's a poor man's way of sounding like, you know, the Royer 121, the classic studio mic. So inflamed is the word. Awesome. So that's the thing. I'm hoping that it's still inflamed, and that's why I'm not hearing. Because what the most recent surgeon, the one who did the surgery, what's the word for that? So he told me basically there's nothing broken in there. So it's not like one of the important hearing bones or anything like that's damaged. It's only the eardrum. So that means I should have decent chances of getting much of my hearing back, but we'll see. At least it's 1,000,000 times better not having a broken eardrums, because that really sucks. So it's better. Fingers crossed the hearing is going to come back. Okay, so I'm a little bit tired of this guitar now. I actually swapped the whole, I swapped the whole pickguard for this guitar and the pickups. But I'm about to give up on this guitar, I think. I've done so many pickup switches on it, and I don't think it can sound really the way I want to. So I'm going to have to accept the way it sounds. I think sometimes you have to do that. No pickups in the world can change the sound of the guitar. But now I'm going to use the Telecaster instead. I've really become, I think, a bit of a Telecaster guy recently. Because I don't know, it's like I've always liked Strats, but I don't feel they have that, you know, extra oomph and push. And the Telecaster is a little bit like a super hot Strat or something. Oh, swallow saliva when yawning. Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'll try that. Very cool tip. Yep, I did rupture it while trying to clean it with one of those orange pipes, and I was really stupid. You know, the tool itself is recommended to me by an ear doctor, but the way I did it was I tried to push out the last bit of liquid in there, and then what I did instead was just push in air to the point that I blew the eardrum. That was not a nice thing. Hurt quite a bit. Okay, so. Man, this is a box. Chicago Timmer, what's up? So let's do. Some Ingve. That's a good question. Do I really differentiate between guitar sounds? So I spent the good half of my entire guitar career years thinking there was absolutely no difference. It didn't really matter what guitar you had as long as it, you know, felt nice to play and you liked the shape of it, and nothing really mattered. But then I gradually understood that was not the case, and I equally spent a long time playing digital, and as you can tell, you know, I have the Kemper here, and I've used it extensively for almost a decade. Nothing wrong with it, but I did think that it doesn't matter. You don't need analog because you have digital, and I've kind of flipped on that as well now. So everything does matter, and the thing is, you're amplifying a very small signal. You're amplifying that, and so the starting point is definitely going to matter, just as it matters the way you amplify it. And so you can change the starting point with pedals, but only to a certain extent, or at least that's the case for me. For example, I'm really struggling hard to make that Strat I just played. I want it to sound more like a beefier guitar, like my Solar guitar or my Gibson guitar. I just more body to it. And I have a 10-band equalizer, and I'm doing my best. I'm adding those low frequencies, but it's not the same, you know? It isn't the same. And that's because with an equalizer, you can only really boost what's already there or cut what's already there. If you don't have any cool low-end frequencies, no equalizer in the world is going to help you. But distortion can help you because distortion adds something on the top of your signal. So I have several distortion pedals, and I'm experimenting like a maniac, but it's still extremely hard to, you know, make a specific guitar sound in a way that it doesn't want to sound. And I've swapped pickups on that Strat for maybe 4 or 5 times. So it's crazy. Or at least for me, that's crazy. But so anyhow, yeah, stuff matters. And that's just for guitars. Then we have amplifiers. I've always thought that, well, if you can, you know, if you can either profile a sound, which is what the Kemper does, or if you can, you know, via EQ, most modern DAWs can do like a spectrum analyzer on a signal, and then it can copy the EQ setting. I always thought, well, if you can do that, you're getting the exact same sound. But that's totally disregarding basically the dynamics of the different frequencies, and that's why sound can get so complicated. There might be lots of oomph and push in the low end part of the sound, but not in the high end part of the sound. And you can't replicate that with EQ alone. This has to do with the way the different spectrums attack you, basically, whether it's, you know, a boom, or it's like, you know, whether it's like explosive attack, and all that matters. That's why good sound sounds good, because it's a complex thing. If you're recording like a high gain tube amp, it's a very complex thing. And sure, digital sounds cool, sounds close, but I still haven't played a digital unit. And like I said, I have the Kemper standing by me. I played for 10 years or almost, and it's good, but it doesn't capture the dynamics. In other words, exactly what you play isn't really going to be converted to a digital unit. It might sound good, and to the listener, there's probably zero difference. But to the player, not having the unit respond the way I attack the strings is frustrating, because that's what I've been practicing, and I want it to, like, I want it to be like a servant that just you do this and it's immediately responding. That's how I want my amps to be. And then I want to decide how they respond, but I want zero delay and I want a natural response. If someone had told me this 15 years ago, I would have dismissed it as, he's full of it. And I lived by that philosophy for a long time, until I gradually realized that, yeah, stuff matters. It does. That's why people speak about stuff, because it matters. Yep, Chicago Tamer, I do want a Bogner pedal. I've been looking at Bogner Ecstasy Blue for a long time. Tonix, awesome. Yeah, that's another one I'd love to try. Supposedly very good. You better than Ingve. You're too kind. Ooh, lightning a firework in his face. Oh, that's really scary. I can imagine he damaged other things as well, not only his eardrum. Man, scary stuff. Yeah, you always need sweep picking. I have several digital units, but I mostly sit with my amps. Plus, it's quicker to get going. Exactly. That's actually, not only is it easier to just turn on the amp and play, you don't need to connect your computer and stuff like that. There are workarounds for that. You can get like a flat rate frequency response or whatever, the FR thing, and you can connect the Kemper to that if you want to. But another thing I found is with analog, I mean, you can sound like shit on any gear. That's not a problem. But I found that with digital, you're kind of searching for the sweet spots all the time. It's like, where is that sweet spot of this specific profile or this patch or whatever? With analog, it's not like that at all. I mean, you have sweet spots, but you have lots of different sweet spots. Every turn of a button is a potential sweet spot. You still got to balance the sound out and all that, but I found that there's just a million more sweet spots with analog gear. I don't know why. No, I don't think the shape of the guitar body affects the sound. I know there's a hot debate around tone wood. I'm not even going to go into that. But a Telecaster, for example, the pickups are firmly attached to the wood. And I mean, the fact that the guitar sound, that's a resonation. It's about resonation. Is that a word? And on the Strat, for example, the pickups are attached to the plastic pick guards, whereas in the Tele, the pickups are really screwed into the wood. And likewise, on the Tele, you have these massive brass saddles, and on the Strat, they're just thin. I mean, I have two Strats. They sound completely different. They have the same body shape. And I've tried pickups. Like I said, I've been swapping pickups like a madman. I can't make them sound the same. I have no issues at all believing in tone wood. I don't think it's straightforward, like, you go with mahogany and you get a darker sound and this and that. Although on a general level, I think it's somewhat true, but different pieces of wood sound differently. And how you put them together, it makes a big difference, obviously, if it's like a bolt-on neck or if it's the Gibson approach where you glue the neck. But yeah, everything matters. That's just how it is. And if you can't hear a difference, then you can consider yourself lucky. You don't have to worry about it. Just play and have fun. But when you start to realize that it sounds different, then you're more inclined to start understanding how you can benefit from those differences. I mean, I always spend time experimenting with picks, right? I hear a huge difference in like if this is the standard Jazz 3, and this is chicken picks, pretty cool plastic. So Jazz 3. This is much brighter. And of course you can hear a bigger difference when it's not like too much distortion. So again, this one more articulated. But about guitars and differences, it's also a feel thing, of course. That's a big thing. I have many guitars now. There you can see some of them, and they're more hanging on the wall there. And for every guitar, I realize more and more how much stuff actually matters, and just how, I mean, this neck has like the same shape all over. It's not like, I don't know how you describe it, like progressive, where it's rounder here and then it gets flatter here. This is just the same. That's a very special feeling when you're playing. I do think it also has an impact on tone, because the amount of wood, I'm pretty sure, matters. And the reason I know it is because I've scalloped 4 guitars, and they do sound a little bit different afterwards. And if you remove a lot of wood, you do get a thinner sound to my ears. And that's why on my latest 2 scallops, I've been very careful only to remove the exact amount of wood I needed to remove, right? Pickups have a huge impact on tone, and not necessarily the way people think. I'm not into the whole thing of getting really high output pickups to play metal. To me, it's like the opposite. How low, how much of a low output can you stomach? So in other words, the lower output you have, the more dynamics you have also. Usually there's such a connection. There are lots of other parameters as well, but one thing is sure, if you're buying high output pickups, you're pretty much squashing the sound. So you can't restore those dynamics later on, whereas if you start with a low output pickup, you can always boost the signal later on. So that's a big difference there. Now again, if you never really experienced the dynamic sound, that's okay, you know, just play and have fun. But I started realizing that I like it when the guitar, how do you say, it answers to my dynamics. Now that can be frustrating as well. Just compare a beginner playing the piano with a beginner playing the guitar, right? Guitar is so much harder because everything matters, right? So the way you hit the string is going to matter because it reflects, dynamics are much more obvious. Whereas if you play a keyboard, you can really be a beginner and hit one note and it's going to sound exactly the same as when a pro plays that one note. Now, of course, it's a different story when we start playing many notes, but on the guitar, that's not the case. If a pro or somebody with experience is playing one note, it can sound like that. And when the beginner plays it, it sounds like this. You know, there's a world of difference. And all that is amplified through the different components of your signal chain. And stuff matters. It just does. Equalizer graphics can break the pickup. I'm not sure what you mean. I haven't heard about that. Like break, you mean that it can affect the sound of the pickup for sure, yeah. I've never heard that it can break a pickup. That sounds wrong to me. Yes, Aaron, this guitar is scalloped. It's a very light scallop, and it just scalloped where I fret, which is something the internet is struggling with. And that's fun. If you want to have a fun time, you can read some comments of my shorts where I use this guitar. People really don't understand the scalloping here, but to me it makes sense because stuff matters, and when you remove a lot of wood, you get less of a tone, and I don't want to do that because stuff matters. Cool, Chicago Timor. See you soon. Diana, what's up? Oh, there's a bit of delay. Oh, that's interesting. Have you set up that delay on purpose, or is YouTube giving you that delay? Do a chicken picking. So here's some chicken picking. So let me see here. I'm just gonna fix the light here, which is a little bit strong. Derek, thank you. Isos Disnots, what's up? It's hard to chicken pick, yes. So I can show you a little bit of a close-up here. So look at my right hand now. It might look like a left hand because it's mirrored, but this is my right hand. So what a lot of people do wrong here is Tungitura, first time on live, have a good one. So if you make a big picking movement, it's very hard to add the finger, because when you pick, you're pretty much pushing all fingers away, and how are you going to pick after that? So make a super small picking movement, so small so that the hybrid finger can stay on the string before you strike. So in order to achieve that, you're going to have to make use or get used to this thumb joint movement. I speak about that in many of my shorts. So if you go to my channel and check out the shorts, scroll a little bit, you're going to find this covered. But the best way to practice this is actually to make a little exception here and anchor your fingers. This is just for exercise purposes. So anchor your fingers and try to pick just one note. I found with most of my students, when they do this, they want to do this. And that's the issue. You're moving with the wrong part of the hand. If you use this part, you're not moving the hand around, and that's going to easily allow you to start using your fingers. So you're gonna have to get used to the thumb joint movement in order to start doing these chicken picking licks. It's super important. Okay, so you pause the video when you're typing. That's pretty cool, interesting. It's a good functionality. Romley, what's up? Take me home. I'm already home, sorry mate. So we can try it in action. Ouch. Yeah, Zach Wilde does a lot of these chicken picking licks, but he also does a lot of these pentatonic licks, right? Haha, Jazz George, thank you, man. So the background is actually my own backing tracks. That may be why it feels connected. You can find all these backing tracks on my YouTube channel. Oh, that's an interesting question. How is there no hum? Well, this is actually in single coil mode now, and there's a little bit of hum, but I can turn off the noise gate, so it's a little bit more hum, right? Now, if I run them in series, it's a little bit better. There's more hum. Just the bridge pickup, there's a little bit more hum. Not that bad. Oops. But now I have the noise gate engaged, and there's nothing, right? Until I play. Bro, Biga, thanks, man. So that's probably why I'm getting rid of some of the hum. But there is, some of my guitars have more noise, and I think this is better shielded. This guitar is very well shielded. I think maybe that's what this whole thing does, right? It's a good shield. But even this pickup is okay, I think. Cool, we got my man Christian Newman here. What's up? So this Telecaster is a Fujigen Iliad Standard. So if you go to Fujigen or FGN, you're gonna find this type of or T-style guitar is what we're supposed to call it. But I've scalloped it, so you probably won't find that unless you go to their custom show. Washington, DC, awesome, man. I'm from Stockholm, Sweden. So we're far away, but our hearts are connected. I was actually born in California, but I only stayed there for like 2 weeks. So I don't have much US time. Anja, tjena, what's up? Not sure. The invasion is happening in Ukraine, not here, fortunately. But if we let the crazy Russians who want to rebuild their Soviet empire, if we let them continue, sooner or later they're going to be here as well. Let's hope we won't get to that. Ups, one more time. So that's just alternate picking, right? So I started playing when I was 10 years old. I got my first acoustic guitar. And I really started to get serious about practicing when I was 17, 18. I just sat and practiced all day long. Have a good one, Jazz. See ya. Oops. So now I'm practicing just arpeggios, right? These sweep arpeggios. So this is something I do a lot. I play these diatonic arpeggios that stick to one key. So I'm in D minor now. And all these arpeggios are in D minor, just like you have a bunch of chords that belong to the key of D minor. You're obviously also going to have arpeggios, because arpeggios are just chords that are played note for note. Can you show, please, the string height? Oh, string height. I thought you meant some string being hidden. Let's grab a ruler here. So I'm European, so I'm gonna do this in millimeters. Let's see if you guys want me to do it in something else. I think I have inches here as well. So first to me, so I can see what the hell I'm doing. Oh, is this really correct? Seems high. Yeah, this is almost 2 millimeters. It's pretty high. I use this for slide as well, this guitar. Actually, maybe that's why it sounds a bit better. I should do that with my Strats as well, just raise the string height. But anyhow, here it is. If you want to see it, I think it's going to be hard to see, but almost 2 millimeters. Tony, I wouldn't say 2 millimeters is super low, actually. It's pretty high, I guess, but I'm really starting to prefer. I used to only want to play these super low action guitars. I still have them, and they're great for shredding. But again, just going back to stuff that matters, right? you do get better tone if the string can resonate freely. So I think it's get better tone with good string action, and whenever you want to really go heavy and strum the strings, that's when you really need it. And also, if you want to be able to, you know, do these that kind of thing. Ouch! Don't do that. Ouch! So out of tune, man. Gotta practice that. If you want to do sliding, it also helps. So it's a compromise. Yeah, Telecaster, 2 millimeters. I mean, this guitar has been plecked, and I could get the string action lower, I think, but I purposely raised it, and I think I'll end up doing that on several of my other guitars as well. It's just something I've started to appreciate more and more. I can show you a little bit how I'm practicing when I warm up. So what kind of cleaner for a maple fretboard? I don't think you need any clean for maple. Just like a cloth that's a bit humid, so a little bit of water on a cloth should be fine. Especially if you have a lacquered maple, which this is not. But maple, it's with rosewood that you need some kind of oil, right? Because it tends to dry. But with maple, I don't think you need that. Oh, too fast. Let's do it slower. Ah, messed up again. A little bit too fast. Let's do it slower. Maybe we can change the rhythm. So I'm just improvising, or I'm just playing random notes in D minor now. No, I don't have a band currently. At some point, I would like to maybe start collabing again and maybe doing a band thing. We'll see. Right now, very busy by family and work. Fortunately, I work with guitar stuff, so I still get to play a lot, but not really band time at this point. But I'm slowly getting back into it. I've started working on my backing tracks. I look Iranian. Okay, maybe my mustache is doing it. I get to hear Italian as well. I am half Greek and half Swedish, but it's probably the Greek trace you're thinking about. Make me say, wow, is here. How you doing, man? Hello there, Detty. A guitar gift. Here, you can have it. I'm sure in a band you will rock. Thank you, man. Thank you, man. If you want to check out my tracks, you have them on the channel. Some of my older tracks have gained quite a bit of traction here on the channel. Let's do a track now. Sorry, I suck at jazz. I'm a big Holdsworth fan, but I never learned any of his stuff, you know. Just inspirational for listening to his music, but also his legato technique. Cool. That sounded more like Yngwie than Alan Holdsworth. So in spite of the way this guitar looks, I don't know any animals as leaders. I know it has some similarities with the signature guitar. Oops. So I'm playing down here. Maybe you'll recognize your trusty pentatonic box here in F sharp minor. Same box up here, right? I play it with fast, like Eric Johnson style picky. Too many notes. Bonjour, comment allez-vous? Yeah, I do speak a little bit French. This is a Fujigen guitar. Sorry, don't know any Indonesian music. I need to tune. So this is for sure a custom scallop. It's a do-it-yourself scallop and it's in progress. But as you can tell, I've only scalloped exactly where I need it to be scalloped. So right where you're supposed to fret. Let me just tweak the sound a little bit. I don't know if you can tell what the heck is going on there. There you can see my pedals. Sorry for showing you my messy studio. Every day I think today is going to be the day when I tidy the studio. So I was like, no, I got to record this first. So never get any tidying done. I don't know what paper cut melody is. I don't know what Holy's song is. Yep, the green is a tube screamer, but I don't use it currently. I use the Silk Tone Fuzz, the greenish bluish thing. No, I don't know the SoundLad Liverpool sketchy tremolo pedal. Sounds like fun though. Cool, we have a user from Japan here. Awesome. So let's try another backing track here. So all these backing tracks are from my YouTube channel. So E minor. loud, I think. Cool, lots of good questions. So I'm not left-handed. It's just the live stream that's being mirrored. So we can definitely check the scallop up close. Or actually, this camera sucks for this, but hopefully you can see a little bit here. You also get to see my face up close. You didn't ask for that, but you got it anyway. I just wish the angle wasn't as crappy. Maybe I'll you know what? In spite of being a rock and roll guitarist, maybe I can be a little bit smart for once. No. Oh, this is better. There you go. There you go. You also get to see that my studio is truly a mess everywhere you look. It's just all over the place. But here at least you get to see the scallop. I don't know what is most intriguing, the messy background or this uneven scallop. Like I said before, the internet is very, very, what should I say, surprised at this scallop. Just the amount of comments I get commenting the scallop is just crazy. But I'm happy, I'm not complaining. Sorry, don't know any muse. The lower part of the frets, basically I remove wood where you would fret, right? So you would fret right next to the fret wire. There's really no point in removing wood anywhere else unless you have an unprecise fretting technique, but that's something I want to fix anyway. So I don't want to carve out wood to prepare for a crappy fretting technique. I want to, you know, prepare for a good technique, which I hope I'll achieve someday. So I think we had a question about speed picking. That's interesting. Factory scallops are very rare, you know. Ibanez does, like, I think the higher frets on the gem guitar maybe. And that you have the Yngwie Malmsteen signature from Fender. That's a fully scalloped guitar, which is, you know, very curvy, and the whole thing is fretted out. I haven't seen this kind of scallop in any factory guitar. I'm sure you could get it if you asked for it, but yeah. Gabriel, Dodo, what's up? So I don't know any muse. You can stop asking. I won't know it just because you asked 10 more times. How do you learn your scales? That's also a good question. So let's start with some speed picking. Grab a bigger pick. So my most important tips, or actually, I learned to sweep pick or speed pick after a couple of years of intense practicing, but it never really sounded good until much later, and that had nothing to do with picking, and it had everything to do with legato. So basically, you can grab any exercises and try to get good at, you know, that kind of thing. But I always found that kind of playing was very limiting, because you could only really play the patterns you had practiced, and you had to make an effort to, you know, play it on the fixed amount of bars. It's all super predictable, right? You know that. And I didn't like that. You know, I wanted to be able to do, but also, you know, something that's more unpredictable. And I could never do that with just practicing traditional Paul Gilbert exercises or whatever. So for me, the big breakthrough was when I realized that you pick where you can, and where you can't pick, you're still going to continue the run. You're just not going to pick every note. And in order to accomplish that, you really have to get good at legato, right? So if you don't know what legato is, it's just the left hand, right? This kind of thing. I practice, you know, when I started out, it was like, oh, I'm going to practice this picking run, and then I'm going to practice this legato run. I was making the constant difference between, I was differentiating between those two, right? But these days, it's really the opposite. I'm practicing a run, and if my technique allows for it, I'm going to play it with picking if I want that sound. But if not, I can always do legato. So I'm practicing runs, and I'm using both picking and legato. And a lot of times, I'll be picking like 1, 2, 3, and then legato, legato, right? Or pull off, pull off. So I'm just picking 3 out of 5 notes there. And as I'm going, maybe I'm going down like this. I'm picking 1, 2, pull off, 1, 2, pull off, 1, 2. So it's not as much picking as it would seem when you see me do this. It's easy to think that pretty much every note is picked, but that's not the case. It's really just. And if I have a bad day, it might be very little picking, just I'm just picking once per string. So it's like pick one, pick, hammer on, pick, hammer on, pick. So it's really just legato, right? But if my shape is good, then yeah, I'll add more pick notes. I can try to economy pick everything, maybe like. It's okay, right? Maybe do all strict auto picking. So maybe it's not what you expected, but the way I got really good at the speed picking was to practice legato, right? That's how I was able to finally use my speed picking runs in my jams and in my improvisations. I realized when I had been maybe practicing for 10 years or something, or practicing intensely for 10 years, that I didn't want to just play pre-written solos. That really bored me to death, and it made me not want to play anymore. I realized the only way I can keep on playing and enjoying performing is by improvising. So I made sure that from that point, everything that I practiced would be improvisation friendly. And that's exactly what the technique I just explained, what that does. It allows you to improvise, right? So I can really do whatever the heck I want to. I can start with a classic speed picking run, but then I'm not stuck. I can. I can even do like tune orchestrator. But I still struggle going between those two. So I have, if I'm gonna try that now, I'm probably gonna mess up. If I combine like Yngwie Malmsteen style picking with like Eric Johnson or Zach Wilde, like pentatonic. Now I'm gonna fail, probably. Check it out. That was okay. Let's try one more time. I'm gonna start with 2 note per string and then see if I can go over to 3 note per string. That's actually also okay. So let's do the opposite again. Actually, that's not very nice. I mean, it sounds okay, but let's see if I can do it faster. It was okay, but I didn't really follow the rhythm. I was just shredding away. So yeah, but all of those things, I can actually improvise with them because I practiced being somewhat independent of my picking, because I realized that it's hard to be in a good picking mood every day. Some days are going to be bad picking days. I think that's how it is for everybody. In those days, at least I can do some legato. Sweep picking. It's also nice to combine sweep picking with standard picking. It also goes hand in hand with my improvisation friendly approach, right? So you can so I start with sweep picking, and then I do some like single string alternate picking, very Yngwie Malmsteen inspired, and then I start going down in the scale. So it's like so I do both. Thank you, Frankie, for the great words. I do both strict alternate picking and economy picking. I just lots of great questions there. Thank you, Gökhan. I do requests, but right now it's a technique request. Emmanuel, happy to explain. So yeah, I do alternate picking, strict alternate pick, but I also do economy picking. And like I said, sometimes I just do legato. And sweep picking is a form of economy picking, right? We're just, picking in one direction. So you can see the pick is going down. That's a form of economy picking. Now, if I'm gonna economy pick 3 note per string, it looks like this, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So constantly doing downstrokes there. Ouch. Ouch. I don't know about that, but then I can strict alternate picking. So it's down, up, and not down on every string traverse as with economy picking. But usually I'll start a run, unless I'm feeling very confident. I'm gonna start a run with legato. So even a strict picking run, which might sound like it's strict picking, I might do like, so just legato on 2 strings before going into full picking mode. Let's try that. Yeah, there I went into economy picking. Actually, I think most common is I'm gonna play legato on the first string, and then I go into picking. I don't know why. Sometimes if I'm in a good mood, I can do picking from the start. Thanks, Just Playing, for enjoying my teaching, man. I don't personally hit every pinch harmonic, so I don't think I'm the right guy to answer that, but I just found that even if you fail, you just keep on playing and no one's gonna notice. You know, that was a fail, but it still produced a note. So there I nailed it. Semi-fail. This sound isn't very bright, so I'm not really catching many of them. Yeah, but I don't have I think the only really way to catch every one of them is if you're playing like a pre-written riff, and then you're gonna have to memorize where to put your hand, you know. But I'm not a big fan of that, you know. As I said, most of my stuff is improvised, so I'll just take a chance, you know, and a lot of times I'll miss. Cool, we've been going for 1.5 hours. That's crazy. I think this calls for some playing. D minor. Yeah, we lost an Indonesian viewer, man. But I'm sure there are more Indonesians here. I don't know any Indonesian music at all. I think there's some cool metal coming from there, but I don't know any bands. Around 30 years I've been playing. So just playing, I don't agree that there's a specific ratio of how much acoustic and electric you should practice. I always think you should practice what inspires you. And for some people that's going to be, you know, lots of electric, and for other, lots of acoustic. For me, it's probably like a 1:7 or 1:8 ratio, if that. So most time the electric guitar. But I go through periods where I do play a lot of acoustic. I had maybe almost like a year or two where I couldn't play amplified. That was when I went from the Kemper to back to analog stuff. I've been playing the Kemper digital stuff just non-stop for years. And I didn't really understand that I was tired of digital. I thought that I was just tired of amplification, and I was fascinated with the dynamics coming from the guitar. I didn't understand that, hey, there are ways you can get those dynamics even amplified. I understood it, but I didn't really quite feel it, I think, so. And during that period, I played a lot of acoustic guitar and a lot of unamplified electric. I don't know if I'm a virtuoso. You decide, I guess. The bar has been raised, that's all I can say. Thank you, Perfect Ignir, you're too kind. We got BBS here. Thank you, Andy. So the string gauge is 09 to 46, so it's a custom set. Nikki, what's up? This is for you, Gurkhan. Mansfield guitar, that's a brand I've never heard about. Thank you, Gurkhan. So George, Yngwie was one of my many inspirations. Yeah, I never really transcribed a lot from him, but when I had one of the co-instructors on the GMC site, Marcus Lavendell, he really had Yngwie's style down. So I learned a lot from him, actually, more than from Yngwie. Especially, you know, that kind of, you know, semi-picked run. Of course, Yngwie later on learned to do it with economy picking strictly. At least going in that direction. But I think it's cool to mix in some legato as well. I would say I'm probably a bit more inspired by maybe Marty Friedman and you know. But yeah, Yngwie is cool. I think I sound like him whenever I do the shreddy stuff. Let's try some groove metal. Sorry, man, I haven't recorded any backing track in G minor yet. I could do that in the next one, so we'll see. Cool, guys. So this has been an amazing stream. We've had so many cool conversations. You guys have been awesome with providing some topics and content for our discussion. So I want to thank you a lot. I hope to see you soon again. And until next time, you know what to do. Practice, practice, practice. You've been wonderful. I've been KristoferDahl. See ya. Cheers.